right? Someone related. Two, in fact, could be anybody amongst themselves related, or indeed to the person being charged, or the person who, if it's a capital offence, maybe the person who was killed. Anyway, if there's a korov of posel edus, then the whole thing packs up. Now the question, according to Rabbi Yossi, particularly we're talking about capital offences, but Rebbe had another view, which was not only capital offences, also monetary cases. So it could be, I don't know, a loan, for example. But more than that, Rebbe adds something. As long as they have done something to show that they are a group. And we spoke more about that. We'll a bit more about that now. Right now, actually, the Mishnah mentions if they all warn this fellow, don't pull the trigger. You know that's a capital offence. Imagine they're telling him, don't. You know that's going to kill this person, and it's also to do that. All right, and they all get involved in that. Then clearly they are all part of that testimony, right? Only if they all get involved in that way. Rabbi Yossi says it doesn't matter. If that whole group and one of them is related, they see this event and then they come to get to court, then automatically they are one group, which means one of them who is related will bar the whole lot, because the rule is nimtza echad mehem korov posel. If one of them is related, then the whole edus then collapses. Okay, so that's the view of Rabbi Yossi. Rebbe says more than that. They have to show that they actually want to be a group together. Remember the last words of the last line of the Mishnah. He says, obviously they have to show that they want to become one group together, he says, because otherwise what happens? You've got two people walking down the street, or maybe a group of people, and two of them are brothers, and they see, let's say this case, a capital offence, there's a murder, there happen to be two brothers walking together. Are they then going to bar the whole group because they happen to be walking in the street? And as the Mishnah says, Bisman Shelo Hisru, they have to show that they want to be a group. Ma yasu shnei achim, what would happen? The Mishnah concludes, two brothers, shero be'echod shehora gesar nefesh. Obviously, this is to get the point across. Two brothers in a group see the murder. Are you now telling me that whole group then is now barred? So says Rebbe, it's only when they get involved. Maybe one of the brothers warns and the other brother, obviously a bystander, just sees what's happening, but doesn't want to partake as the group. So that's quite important machlokas here. According to Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't matter whether they wanted to be a group. They are a group by default, automatically. According to Rebbe, they have to show that they are a group. Now, pick this up here. There's two narrow lines up. Omer Rabbi Yossi b'ameh devar ma'amurim, and then you've got Ma yasu shnei achim. Yeah, the last of the wide lines. Heichi omrinon lahu. How do we? Very interesting. If you remember, Rabbi Yossi, Rebbe, actually, there's a v'chulu there in the two lines. Om Rabbi Yossi b'ameh devar ma'amurim, etc. There's that v'chulu is quite a long v'chulu. Maya, and because it goes right up to the end of that Mishnah, last narrow line, Maya Sushnei Achim. So it picks up both views at once, and telling us, according to Rebbe, so machlokus between Rabbi Yossi and Rebbe is Rabbi Yehuda HaNossi. Rabbi Yehuda HaNossi says it doesn't matter, financial matters as well. One person who's related will ruin that whole group. Now, in the case of where there are warnings taking place, like for example, a capital offence, it would have to be a warning. If it's a monetary case, a loan that took place, how do they show And that's what the Gemara is now busy with, the last of the narrow lines. Heichi omrinan lahu. How can we show that they are one group or not? Again, Rebbe holds it doesn't matter whether it's a capital offense or a monetary matter. A group, and in that group there are two people, or one of the persons related, that could be to each other or maybe to the plaintiff, then the whole edus then collapses, right? So imagine it's a financial matter, it's a loan, a large loan, and you've got a group of people. How can we prove whether they wanted to be a group of witnesses or not? Omar, so heichi omrinan, who 4 lines up, Omar Rava hochi omrinan lahu. This is what we say to them. Lemechse asisu. Did you see this event? Again, it could have been a loan and they just happened to be there at the time. You just saw what took place? Ola ashudi asiso. Or did you want to act as witnesses? That's the way they prove they are part. According to Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, they've got to prove and show that they wanted to be one group. So we say to both the people, if they're 2 brothers, or if one of them is a brother of the plaintiff or of one of the parties, we say, were you just watching this take place, or did you want to be a witness in this case? If they say la ashuda, that yes, I wanted to be one of the witnesses in this case, seeing this happening. Nimtso echad mehem korovo posel. Then, if one of them is related or posel laedus, well-known thief, edus and betela, the whole edus then collapses. But if they say lemechza also, no, we were there to see what was taking place. Lemechza, the word sechazena, we were there only to see what was happening. We don't want to actually be part and parcel of the testimony, if there is going to be a testimony. And on that continues the Gemara, Ma yasu shnei achim sharo be'echot sharages hanefesh. So if you've got 2 people who just see a murder taking place, only if they want to be, they say when they come to court, they're saying, we were always, at the time when we saw this, we wanted to be a participant and we would have come and given evidence about this, then we would say that that's one group. One of them would then debar the whole group from acting as or bar, I should say. Have a look at Rashi right at the end. Heichi omrinahu lekorovu posel. Very interesting. Rashi says we say this to the person who is related, or indeed if it's apostle edus, lemivdekinhu, to check them out, to examine them. When they saw this taking place, did they intend to act, if necessary, as a witness, or were they just watching what was taking place? Are you with me? So if they say we came and we saw and we thought that if anything, we may well have to act as a witness on this, then they will form part of the group. Very interesting. That is what the Gemara says based on Rashi. So we question the related person or the one who's apostle. Okay, can I call upon Peter now to show that item that I sent you? It is Daf Kufyud Gimel Omad Base. Actually, before sorry, just hold it. But go back to the Gemara. Might as well finish off this piece, actually. There's only one more line. And then we can look at that Gemara. Oh, good. Yeah, store it. Well done. Let's have a look at the end of this Gemara. Itma. Quite an important line here. Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda, in the name of Shmuel. Shmuel, as we know, Premier Division, first generation of Amoraim. Rabbi Yehuda, one of his disciples, one of his Talmidim, Rabbi Yehuda Omash, in the name of Shmuel, the halachas like Rabbi Yossi, which means automatically they become a group. Rav Nachman Omar halacha karebi. Rav Nachman says no. The halacha is like Rebbe, which means we will check out to find whether they wanted to be a part of the group, number one. Number two, if we paskin like Rebbe, that's Rabbi Anossi, then this rule about a core over apostle would apply in financial matters as well as capital offenses. So there are two parts we're deciding here. Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel says the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, which means whether they like it or not, they are one group, which means one of them who's related, the whole lot goes. Rav Nachman says we paskin like Rebbe. If we paskin like Rebbe, then we have to check to see whether they wanted to be a group. If they wanted to be a group and they intended to give the test, not so much a group, but to give testimony, then one of them's related, the whole lot's out. Okay? Now, if I can now call upon Peter, second try. Pinch for a bigger view. Pinch yourself? Or? No. Oh, excellent. So if you can make it a little bit larger for us and drop down a little bit. So let's take, yeah, that's good, but can we make it slightly larger? Zoom, let's go to whatever. A bit, how large can we go? Oh, let's go up to 200. Do we normally go for? Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. Is that visible? Everybody can see that clearly, or do you want to take it slightly larger? What is the next one after 200? 400. Okay, let's see what that's like. Whoa, that's very large, but it doesn't matter. That's good. Now, drop down a bit. This is Kuf Yud Gimel on the base in Baba Basra. Drop down. Oh, yeah, I think you're going to have to drop down because I wanted to. Oh, that's good. Bit more, because I wanted, it's the Rashbam I want to look at. I think. If I've got the right duff here. Oh, dear. Is this, have I sent you the right page? Kuf Yud Gimel Amud base? Is this Kuf Yud Gimel Amud base or not? All right. No, it is Kuf Yud Gimel Amud base. So let's have a look at the bottom of this page.
I'm going to shrink down.
Okay, fair enough. We'll make 200's fine. Yeah, 200. 200 should do the job. Oh, yeah, that's better. Yeah, now we can see, because it's on the on the left-hand side is the Rashbam. Remember the Rashbam, the grandson of Rashi? We've spoken about him before. We're coming down. It's one on the large lines of Rashbam. No, right at the, well, lower down, the three sizes. So not the narrow, not the medium, the large size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. That's like Makkas. Now he's going into a Gemara there. We don't need to know anything about that, but let's see what he says, because he's going to explain as well. Bear in mind, it's on the same Gemara, and he's got a proof. We're not involved in the Gemara there, but it's just what he brings from Makkas, which is very important for us. Rabbi Yossi Hosom. Have you got it? Yeah, right next to the word Makkas. Rabbi Yossi considers there what are Eidim Lifsol Es Hasha'ah. How can Eidim puzzle, if that's a nice English word for it, to puzzle the remainder? Imro imohem. es hamaisa, if they saw the event take place, and in the case of Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, it could be financial, it might not be, it might be a capital offense. V'hain pesuli na'edus, and they're apostle to give testimony, they're criminal. V'choshiv lehu edus, it's considered testimony. Shenimtso echod mehem korov apostle. One of them is a korov related or barred from giving testimony. Then the tibotel edus kulon, the whole edus then null and void. For Rebbe palig ole, Rebbe disagrees with Rabbi Yossi. And what does he say? V'omani says, no. Ma yasu shnei achim. What can two brothers do? Shero'u, next line. Be'echod shehorag es hanefesh, someone who killed someone else. V'omrinu migmara. To Rebbe nami moide. Rebbe agrees. Next line, got it? Dahaviluhu edim. They do become a group of witnesses just by seeing what happens. Im bo'u liros, if they came to see the event. Have you got it? Kedei laho'id. Have you got your little arrow? Kedei laho'id at the end of the line. Kedei laho'id, to give testimony. Right? Da'omar Rava says, ki, next line, omrinon lahu. We say to them, Lemechse asisu, did you come? I'm just checking up in our, well, yes, Robert, quite right. We've got Robert too. If you came, Lemechse asisu, you came just to see. Oila ashude asisu, did you come out, when you came out to watch this, were you planning you might or thought you might become a witness? Kaloima. Kushe bosem liros esamai. So when you came to see the event, could have been, as I say, alone, for example. La'eze das bosem liros. Why did you come to see this? Again, it could have been a lot of shouting taking place in the street, and you rushed out into the street to see what was taking place. Did you come just to see what was happening? Or you thought to yourself, if necessary, I will act as a witness on this. Omri, if they say, La ashude asinon, we came, La ashude from sahad, which means a witness, we came to act as witnesses, then, says Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, next line, Nimtso echod mehem korav apostle, edusun betela. Then the whole testimony of everybody will collapse. Omri, however, if they say lemechse asin, we came just to see what was happening, yeah, sechazeno, we came just to see, we saw the shouting in the street and we ran out to see what was happening, then they are not part of the group automatically. And the words like in inverted commas, Ma yasu shnei achim, etc. What can two brothers do? They happen to see the event. You can't stop them, one of them, from acting as a witness. Now, this is important. Va'omar Rav Nachman Hoson. Over there, Rav Nachman says, Halacha ke Rebbe. The halacha is like Rebbe. V'kaimalon, that was the last line we saw. And there's a rule in Ksubas Yud Gimel, in case you ever want to look it up. Halacha Rav Nachman bedina. The halacha is like Rav Nachman in dinim. When it comes to dinim, court cases, anything of that type, Rav Nachman is crucial. And normally, if he argues with anybody else, the halacha is like him. The Gemara says that, obviously, are very experienced in these matters, and the halacha will follow Rav Nachman. Nimtzo, we therefore nimtseino lameidim, we therefore learn shehabo liros maaseh. If someone comes to see something happening, kedei lahoed enhiden, says, yes, in order that I might be called upon to act as a witness. Chashvinon lei aid, he is considered a witness. Va'afilu lifsol es chaverov, he can puzzle. You like that word, do you? To puzzle, P-U-S-S-L-E, to puzzle. No. To puzzle from the word postle. Yeah. He makes the group postle, levatel edoson, imhu postle. Okay. And that's all we really need from this Rashba. I just wanted to, I thought it was a nice explaining what we've just seen. So again, following the explanation of his grandfather, Rashi, who says as well, we ask this individual, did you come, when you saw the event, were you planning that you might be called upon as a witness and you were happy to act in that capacity? Or not? That is the way Rashi and the Rashbam ask the question. Now, gentlemen, please look at Tosfos, La Ashude Asisu, the penultimate Tosfos. Have you got that, Tosfos? La Ashude Asisu. Did you come to give testimony? Did you see it to give testimony? Kosher. Very good question. De'im Cain, if that's the case, we're going to quiz this individual and say, when you saw the event, did you really plan to act as a witness? Lo yehorig odom la'olam. Nobody, well, rarely can there ever be an offence, a capital offence, where somebody will be killed. Why? Ta'akrovim yovoyu, people who are related will come. We came, and where if they actually saw it, we say, "Oh yeah, we always plan to act as a witness," and that will get the criminal off the hook. If he placed someone there who was related to him, he will always bar. He will always come and say, "Oh yeah, I always plan to come and give testimony." What, against your relation? Oh yes. And it turns out he's related. He will now cause that whole testimony to collapse. Do you understand? So says Tosfos, I find it very difficult that you're going to quiz them on this question. Says Tosfos, Upirush Rabbeinu Chaim Cohen. Anyone know? Reb Chaim Cohen, there you are. Do omrinon la'edim ksherim. No, not like Rashi learned or the Rashbam, that we quiz them. But who do we quiz? We quiz the other people, the edim who are kosher, not related, not criminals. Imagine if the fellow's a criminal, then he's going to have one of his mates making sure he sees the event, and they're going to quiz him. Did you want to act as a witness? Oh yeah, I certainly did. And that's going to remove the whole testimony. Says Reb what's his first name? Reb Chaim Cohen. There you go. Reb Chaim Cohen says no. The Gemara doesn't say who we quiz. Says Reb Chaim, you know who we quiz? We quiz the other people, the kosher edim. La asude im absulim asisu. Did you expect to act as witnesses together with this other person? Ola mechsa asisu below hapsulim. Or you didn't want to join just to see you're seeing this without having that other individual joining you. That's what it means to see. We wanted to see this as a group without him. We had nothing to do with him. We don't know who this chap is. We have nothing to do with him. Ve'i Omre. Oh, we got Mervyn joining us here from the
I'm in Faro Departure Lounge.
Where?
Departure Lounge of Faro Airport.
Oh, excellent. Having done the bike ride.
We just finished it this afternoon. It's very nice.
Excellent.
Legs a bit burnt. But otherwise, it's a good charity. They're a good crowd.
This was on the Norwood group.
Norwood Ravenswood. Yeah, what do you know? It starts with Ravenswood, which you know well.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely well. Yeah, fantastic. Well done there. Oh, so where we are, we're just finishing off about testimony. We are, I don't know if you've got the, you probably do have a small Gemara with you, I'm sure, in your, in the saddle, in the seat, no? The small little Gemara. Funny you should say that, you'll say. But anyway, yeah, we are saying the following. Let's just, a quick point that we're raising before we turn actually the page. What we're saying is this. When we have this rule, according to Rabbi Yehuda Hanossi, that nimtzo echad mehem korovo apostle, we are going to quiz the kosher Eidim to say, do you know these other people? Did you want to give testimony with them when you saw the event? Now, if they say no, then fine. The other individual, I think you may have to put everybody on mute. Okay, excellent. Stop any background sound coming through. Very good, very good. People can always chip in if they want to. Finish on that. We have nothing to do with these apostle Eidim or these related Eidim. Then their testimony will stand. Even if the other fellow is related, is the brother of the criminal. If they say, yes, we are one group together with this other person who is apostle Eidus or related, then their Eidus will be bottled. That's the way he's learning, rather than quizzing the person who is related or the criminal. Now, what is interesting, as we saw from the Rashbam, now that we do agree with in the Rashbam, which is how we paskin here, because we do have this principle, comes up in the Gemara, Rav Nachman, we paskin halacha Rav Nachman bedini. If there are any din, which this would classify as a din, obviously, what's the rule? Do we paskin like Rabbi Yossi? Do we paskin like Rebbe? We do paskin like Rebbe, and therefore you can see on top in your Gemara next to the word halacha Rebbe. Well, in mine, I've got a superscript. You've probably got one too. In fact, mine is a little vov. I don't know if you've got the same superscript letter of vov, which takes me across to the Rambam and the halacha on the left-hand side, or whatever side you've got there. But can you see that? Right at the end, the last two words of the Gemara, you've got halacha Rebbe. On top of the word halacha, there's a superscript. I say mine, it's a vov, showing good. That shows you that is the halacha, and that's one of the main reasons is because it's Rav Nachman who says halacha is that Rebbe, and we would paskin like Rav Nachman against others when it comes to din. There is that rule. So we do paskin like Rebbe in this instance. So there you go, gentlemen. As we turn the page.
Can I perhaps just ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
I've got a feeling it's a trivial question and irrelevant, but Reb Chaim Cohen.
Yes.
Does that mean he was one of the Baalei Tosfos?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
yes.
Just the name Cohen. So nowadays there's lots of people called Chaim Cohen, but I would have thought at the time of Tosfos it would be Reb Chaim HaKohen.
Interesting. A good one, Reb Chaim Cohen.
Isn't that
Chaim HaKohen?
The usual way we speak? I mean, can we think of other people from hundreds of years ago who were called Chaim Cohen?
Chaim Cohen, yeah, it's
HaKohen, isn't it?
Reb Chaim.
Because it sounds like a surname. Is it a surname?
It's almost like a surname. He's got it as an, like you called Chaim David, he's called Chaim Cohen.
Would he be called up as Reb Chaim Cohen HaKohen? Is that how one would call him up?
No, I think you're right. It does mean that he was a Cohen. I don't know much about him, I must say. Perhaps I should, and perhaps I'll try, Berlin Eder, to look into that. No, that's a good point. Reb Chaim Cohen is how often does he appear in Tosfos? And anybody who's a Boki in Shas will be able to tell you that. Could be one of these questions they quiz these people about. No, it's a good point. Reb Chaim HaKohen, Reb Chaim Cohen, just on his own. Let me just see while you're there. I've got at the back of my Gemara, the Talmidei Rabbeinu Peretz, who are also at the similar time, and they often quote Tosfos. So let's just have
normally we say things like that sort of
yeah, no, that's his point. That's Benjamin's point. Hakoin.
I'm back.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. A good point. Let's just see. No, I haven't got that here. Hold on a second. See if there's got anything on this. In Toma. Rabbi Yossi before that. Heichi Omrinon. No. Chaim Cohen. I don't know much about Chaim Cohen. Perhaps I should try and find out. Okay, that's good. Yeah, good point. It's not trivial. That's all. Chaim Cohen. Maybe he's just well known for that. There is one final point though. If you were to paskin like Rabbi Yossi, then automatically having a group, and one of them was related in that group, would then cause trouble to that, as we said before, it would break that whole testimony. It's only Rabbi Yossi Reb Yehuda HaNossi and Rab Nachman Paskin like him, and the Rambam Paskins like him too, and the Shulchan Aruch. Then we're going to do some quizzing to find out whether they will be part. But according to Rabbi Yossi, we don't do that. So if you Paskin like Rabbi Yossi, automatically they will become witnesses. So let me ask you the following question, gentlemen. And in fact, the last Tosfos picks it up. He's talking about a get, but the same in a wedding. In a wedding, you normally want two witnesses. Now, normally in the wedding, you're going to have a couple of relations. Are you not? If not the father of the bride or the father of the bridegroom, say nothing about brothers and other relations are all going to be there, of the bride or the bridegroom. Now, if you were to paskin like Rabbi Yossi, wouldn't that cause a problem in any wedding? Or in fact, in a gittin as well, if you do need testimony, it's going to ruin the testimony. What you're going to say, please, you send the invitations out, but you don't send them out to relations, or you tell them to come after the chuppah. Otherwise, they're going to blow the testimony. No, what therefore you do find, just to avoid any issues at all, and that will even cover Rabbi Yossi, you often find that the following two individuals come forward, please, who are the witnesses? And in some places, they will say the only witnesses here. So everybody else, I know, well, Rabbi Yossi, just they've seen it, we're barring them. Now, if you do go that far and say, no, it's true, you may have seen what's taking place, but you're being barred from acting as a witness. The witnesses are only these two people, then clearly that will solve the problem and they won't be part of this at all. Even though they've seen it, even Rabbi Yossi would agree they would then not form part of this. Okay, so yeah, you may have heard that in some weddings, where they announce the following are the witnesses and the only witnesses, and that avoids exactly this point of having other people becoming witnesses automatically, and they're related, which would ruin the testimony if you want to have witnesses, that you should have at a wedding. So there you are. As we turn the page, gentlemen, next Mishnah, great. Now, those people who've actually got a Gemara can see that on the next onwards of Zion, it comes to the end of the Perek. So that's the end of the Perek in sight. Now, anyway, Daf Vov Omid Base. No, yeah, not that I'm say happy to leave the Perek, but it's nice that we're making a bit of progress. That's all. So good. Daf Vov Omid Base, top of the page. Are you okay, gentlemen? Hoyu Shnayim, few more Mishnayos. In fact, there are not only two more Mishnayos up to the end of the Perek on this subject, moves to something else in Makkas. Hoyu Shnayim Royim Oisim Echalon Zeh. And again, many of these instances, of course, could occur, but there are a lot of principles that come out of all of this. Shnayim, two people see, looking out of the window, looks at Lahabdil, but it looks like one of these Clint Eastwood film, you know, where they're looking out the window from one, and you've got two people out the other side, and they're walking through the middle. Yeah, we all remember those, don't we? Two watching from one side through the window. Shnayim roisim oisoi, and see him in the middle, and there he is with his gun or whatever, from another window, opposite. Ve'echod masre boi be'enza. Mishnah will get onto that. One of them is warning in the middle. So they're looking down from either side of this road. Yeah, as he says to the other individual, this town ain't big enough for both of us. They're watching from one side and the other side. They can see in between what's happening. They can see the person warning, don't you do this because it's a capital offense. They see all that. Okay, carries on the Mishnah. Bisman shemiksoson roin elu es elu. If some of them, although it does say two, it means just one. It could be more than two, of course. If one of these witnesses on the right-hand side of the road, if you like, sees one of the people on the left-hand side of the road as they're looking down, and similarly from left to right, one of them can be seen. Okay? So again, let's read that. In echod bisman shemiksoson roin elu es elu, as long as some of that group can see each other, hari elu edus achas, this becomes one testimony. V'im lav hari elu shtei edus. If they can't see each other, although they're both looking down at the road and seeing what's taking place, and they can see that very clearly, but they just can't see each other across the road, they are two testimonies. Okay. Therefore, continues the Mishnah, lefichoch, therefore, im nimtzeis achas mehem zomemes, if one group are edim zomemim, or they've said, they say they saw this take place, and then subsequently two other witnesses come and say, how could you possibly have seen that? How could you possibly even seen the edim? You couldn't have seen anything taking place because you were with us elsewhere. Remember? Imonu hoyisem b'mokem ploni, at that time. Who v'hain neherogim v'ashnio patura. So let's just think about this. Let's have this example. Two groups, either side of the road. They can't see each other. Right? They're asked, could you see each other? No, but they both come forward and say, we saw this murder take place at that particular time. And they're both looking from windows opposite the road. But they can't see each other, or so that's what they've said. Each group says, we didn't see the group on the other side. They both give testimony that this murder took place, or any other event took place. One group is found to be Edim Zomamim. What is going to happen? Says the Mishnah, who v'hain nerogim. Only one group was found to be Edim Zomamim. As they couldn't see each other, they are two groups. If they would have been one group and half are found to be Edim Zomim, the whole thing collapses and they're not Edim Zomim. The rule of Edim Zomim only applies if all of them are Edim Zomim. Otherwise, if half the group of Edim Zomim, then yes, that Edus will collapse, but the rule of Edim Zomim won't apply. You with me? But in this case, They are two separate groups because they both claim they couldn't see each other. Now, Group A is found to be Eidim Zomimim. What's left? Group B. So what will happen here? Says the Mishnah, Hu v'hei nerogim. The person who killed, the murderer, will be killed based on what? Based on the testimony of the second group. The first group that are found to be Eidim Zomimim will be killed because they're Eidim Zomimim. They intended this individual to be killed through their testimony. It may well be that the person who it looks like he was the murderer actually will be convicted and will be killed because of the second testimony. That's got nothing to do with the first testimony. The first testimony, they wanted to give that testimony and they were Eidim Zomimim. So that's what the Mishnah says when it says, Hu v'hein ne'erogin. V'ashniya patura, the second group, not only are they potted, it's only through their testimony that he will be killed. They are certainly not part of this Eidim Zomimim group, and therefore they're exempt, obviously, from from the rule of Eidim Zomimim. Are you with me? That's because they are two separate groups. So, Hu v'hein ne'erogin. Have a look at Tosfos. 1, 2, 3, about 5 Tosfos down when it says Hu v'hein ne'erogin. Hein and ne'erogin, they are killed. Have you got the Tosfos? Hu v'hein ne'erogin. Hein ne'erogim afal pi shelo huzma kashni. Even though the second group were not found to be Eidim Zomimim, they're still going to be killed. Kivan shehuzmu hein. They were found to be Eidim Zomimim, and they are a separate group. Continues Tosfos. V'hu nerag, he will be killed mishum kashniya, because of the second group, which is fine. They're not Eidim Zomimim. They are not joining up. Delo botla edus kas shenia. That second group is not botel, but hazomas horishona, because the first group are found to be Eidim Zomimim. Kivan dahavu shtei edius, nicely explained, because they are two separate testimonies. Okay, that's the interpretation of this piece. Back to the Mishnah. If one group is found to be an edus zomemes in the feminine, hu v'hein ne'erogin mashniya patura. Okay, that is the first part of the Mishnah. Hari elu. Otherwise, what would happen if they were one group? What happens if it's one group and they can see each other, or so they claimed? They claimed they could see each other. Then what will happen? That would be classified as one group. Look at the top Rashi. Hari elu eidus achas v'im huzam echod, which means one group. Mehem v'lo huzmu kulon ein nerogim. They won't be killed as Eidim Zomimim, but everything will collapse. Look at the Tosfos above that. Hari elu eidus achas. So in other words, where they claim they can see this group, interesting. So from there you see it's just one group says they see the other group. She'im nimtzo echod mehem korovo posel eidus kulon batela. If they are one group, if one of them's related, we're talking about the korov point. If one of them is related, then they all go. Go mean they're all botel. If one group is found to be Eidim Zomimim, ein nerogim, they won't be killed because they are one group. Remember the rule? Or it's all or nothing. All the Eidim have to be found to be Eidim Zomimim. Ad sheyozumu kulom, as Tosfos says. But ubetelim nami eidus kulom, the whole group becomes botel, ba'azoma achas, even though only a group of them, a part of them are found to be edim zomamim, says Tosfos, but if the edim, other edim said you were edim zomim, which means they are not telling the truth, says Tosfos, the hazoma havi kenimtzu echad mehem korabo posel. They now become posel to give testimony. Yeah, if half of them are found to be edim zomamim, then they within that total group you have now someone part of apostle edus, so the whole thing collapses. Okay, back to our Mishnah. Says Rabbi Yossi, a new rule. Rabbi Yossi Omer. He says something else, comes up in another Gemara too. La'olam ein neherogin. People, the death penalty is not carried out. Ad sheyehu shnei edov masrin by. That's very important. It's the witnesses themselves must give the warning. Shenema. Here we have this posuk. Posuk we know well. Could you just bring the posuk for us, Peter? Devorim Yud Zayin Vov. Sorry, the hop there. Let's have a look. Devorim Yud Zayin Vov. Yeah, if you've got it. Yud Zayin Vov. How are you doing, Devorim? Just so we see that posuk. You may have it around the side of the Gemara, but it's nicer to see.
Which chapter is it?
Devorim, Deuteronomy 17:6.
Thank you.
And as it comes up, let's see that posuk, because the Gemara will spend more time on this. If not, we will.
It's there.
Oh, excellent. Oh, well done. Straight to it there. Al pi shnayim edim, o shlosha edim, yumas hames. Yeah, he will be killed, as we say, a person put to death. Yumas hames, with a testimony of 2 or 3 edim. Lo yumas al pi eid echod. What's this word? Al pi eid echod. The testimony. Lo yumas al pi eid echod. Al pi. This word al pi, with the mouth of. Now look at their Mishnah. Thank you very much, Peter. Back to our Gemara. The witnesses themselves must give the warning. Shema al pi shenayim edim, by the pair of 2 witnesses, they will be killed, because they are the people actually giving the warning as well. That's what it means, al pair. The Gemara will deal with this and go into a little bit more detail, as I say, on that. But it's being learned from this word, al pi shenayim edim. That's one lesson that we learn from this word, al pi, through their mouth. They were the people totally involved. They've warned the person not to do the act, and now they come forward and say, well, P. Obviously, if they're edim, you don't have to say al pi edim. Just say you should say shnei edim without the word al pair. The pair, obviously, you can be a test, can't give the testimony. So with the first lesson,
can this function be split? I mean, could you have one pair of edim giving the warning and another pair coming forward as to the crime that happened or the circumstances?
It sounds like the witness, according to this limud, if we're going to paskin that, if we're going to paskin it, it sounds like all the witnesses must do this, a double job. Yeah. They not only must warn, they must warn the person plus give the testimony. If we're going to paskin like that, because there's another lesson we could learn from this al pair, actually talking about the testimony itself. What does that mean? Obviously, you don't need the word al pi shnayim edim. You just say al say Al Shnai Edim. Obviously, somebody as a witness, obviously got to speak, haven't they? Actually, no. Look at the next lesson. Says the Mishnah, Dova Acher, another way of learning, another interpretation. Al Pi Shnayim Edim, by their pair. The witnesses are only witnesses through their mouth. Says the Mishnah, Shalotahe Sanhedrin Shoma'as Mipi Haturgman. You cannot have a translator. They've got to understand this. Look at Rashi. Shalotahe Sanhedrin Shoma'as Eidus or Eidim, the testimony, Mipi Haturgman, through a translator. Tzrichim Hadayonim Sheyehu Makirim. That's, of course, why you have this point about the Eidim, remember? Must be familiar with all the different languages that might come up. Shemakirin Beloshano Eidim. Veloshe-yamidu Meilitz Benosom. We're familiar with that word, Meilitz Benosom, remember, with Yosef? The Meilitz, the translator. You cannot have a Maturgaman in between. They must hear the words directly. Always problems if you've got a translator, however good he is, you don't actually get the full meaning unless you hear the words directly from the individual. So the second lesson, and we can see from there, you got the telltale sign, that little base, Nektar Shalote Ashendra Shamas Mipi Amaturgam. It's actually got to be the Dayonim must know and hear directly from the Eidim, and that will avoid any doubt. And not necessarily they're trying to fool somebody, but make sure they understand exactly what is being said by the witnesses. Okay. Yeah, I suppose we should really stop here. The Gemara does go on to Eidus Miyuchedes. That's exactly this point. What about, that's the Gemara will deal with this. What happens if, it's a new case actually in the Gemara. What happens if you have two witnesses both seeing the event, but they can't see each other? Can they join up? Now, we seem to learn in our Mishnah that unless they can see each other, they are two separate testimonies. What will happen with one and one? Will the same thing apply? Well, that's what the Gemara will be dealing with when it talks about Eidus Miuchedes. And that's that, as Rashi will tell us, Echod roya michalon zeh ve'echod roya michalon zeh. But they can't see each other. And that's exactly where we learn this principle from, that we've learned in the Mishnah. So we're going back to basics, if you like. The Mishnah told us when we have two groups, they don't join. Why shouldn't they join? They can see what's happening in the middle. That's very important, especially when you speak about this relation being there. You've got two different groups seeing from either side of the road. Why do they need to see each other? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at, where we see that actually, yes, they must see each other, or some of them at least see each other, to be considered one group. And that comes out from the Gemara on the next piece. So with that, gentlemen, we will close for today. Good to see you all. Peter, can we call upon you for 121, please, before we close? Oh, whoa. Very impressive. Shiur Lama Alois. Horim. Adonai
Yehu, Ayan Yemenecho,
Yom
Yomun HaShemesh Lo Yakeko, V'yoreach B'laylo, Adonai Yishmerecho Mikol Ra, Yishmoes Nafshecho. Adonai Yishmorecho U'Boecho, Me'ato V'yad Olam.
Nachene kol beis Yisrael hanu surim batzora v'shivya. Hoim dit mei ma'yum avei ma'ya moshe mukim yanachim aleim yotzim mitzole levacha u'me'afele olam mishibud ligula hashlo ma'agola u'bizman korib. Thank you, Peter, for sending me. That came via Mervyn about Lawrence. That to me was a big shock. When was he nifter? How long ago? Do you know?